happy to be back in Canada because I consider myself an honorary Canadian. I studied at Dalhousie, got a master's, I even got an honorary doctorate, spent 5 summers in Chester, and for 10 years I was non-resident High Commissioner to Canada. And I learned something very good from a very well-known Canadian, Wayne Gretzky. He said, skate to where the puck is going, not to where it is. And they are skating to where the puck is, not where the puck is going. So where is the puck going? It's important to realize that today we live in an era where we're seeing far greater change in 30 years than we have seen in 300 years or even 3,000 years. It's a period of immense change. Future historians will be amazed what's happened in our era, and everything is changing. Just to give you one big dimension, how it's changing. From the year 1 to the year 1824, 1800, the last 2,000 years, the two largest economies of the world were always those of China and India. It's only in the last 200 years that Europe took off and North America took off. So the past 200 years of world history have been a major historical aberration. As you know, all aberrations come to a natural end. So it's perfectly natural to see the return of China and India. So when you all voted by 76% to say that China is a threat to the liberal international order, what you are expressing is a deep gut feeling that China has changed the world. And it has. When China, which had 10% of United States GNP in PP terms in 1980, then becomes bigger than the United States in 2014, in 34 years, everything changes. But what is China threatening? Is China threatening the liberal international order? Or is China threatening the global balance of power, the number one power in the world, so ably represented by General McMaster and Michael Pillsbury? And the honest answer, there's only one simple honest answer. China is threatening the global balance of power. And I'll tell you why China is not threatening the liberal international order. Because why has China come out of nowhere and in 30 years became the largest economy in PPP terms? How did China do it? China did it because of the rules of the liberal international order. Now, many of you will be confused by this phrase, liberal international order. I mean, I could completely agree with what General McMaster and Michael Pillsbury said when they said China is not a liberal domestic order. But that's not the issue of the day. The issue of the day is not whether China is liberal domestic order. The issue of the day is whether China is working with the liberal international order. And I can tell you what a liberal international order is, because I was born in an era of what you call an illiberal international order in a British colony. And as you know, when you're colonized, you have no rights whatsoever. And China went through 100 years of hell from 1842 to 1949. And then when the liberal international order began, China discovered two big things that work for China. One, the first pillar of the liberal international order is sovereignty. Every country can then decide its own future, what it wants to do. And then the second thing is rules. Rules to ensure what you can and cannot do in the international space, not domestic space, international space. And I also want to give you one statistic which I hope you will bear in mind throughout this whole debate. Out of the world's population of 7.5 billion people in the world, only 12% live in the West. 88% live outside the West. So if you want to judge China's international behavior, let me emphasize that, international behavior, ask yourself, how is the 88% of the world reacting to China's rise? And amazingly, they're welcoming it, they're cooperating with it. My partner Henry Wang described what happens in the Belt and Road Initiative. Countries are queuing up to join it. I mean, the United States doesn't want to join, I understand, of course. Why would the United States want to go and support its number one competitor? It won't. But the rest of the world is doing so. So the debate is about the liberal international order. Please pay attention to international sentiments. Thank you.